Welcome, everyone, and thank you for coming today. This has been a giant experiment, and we've been putting people in groups so that they can hang out with each other, and we'll be able to do this at the very end as well. I want to thank our students for putting this together and helping us with this. I have to say that Courtney, who put people into groups today, was sitting in the stairwell in her scrubs, and she has to go back to the clinic now. So she's now gone, and we have Helen, who's helping us up now. We are a wonderful intergenerational group. We do a lot of learning together, and we are so pleased that we're going to be able to have President Folt with us today. But for now, what I would like to do is introduce Sue Vogel. Sue, hopefully you're here today. I don't see you in my group here, but Sue is the Director of University Publications for the Division of Student Affairs. And she has been now the SRA, Staff Retirement President, for quite a while, and she's been a great leader. And so I'd like to invite Sue to say a few words for us today. Tim, are you able to highlight Sue?
I don't see Sue, actually. Did we lose her from the waiting room?
Okay, so how about while we wait, I would like to introduce then Jerry Walker, because Jerry Walker is the president of the Retired Faculty Association, and he joined Senior Vice President Zorab Kaprilyan's office at USC in 1972. And as soon as he finished his PhD at Stanford, Jerry held a variety of responsibilities during his 36 years in the Provost office at USC, including promoting research, organizing the university's centennial celebration, inaugurating 2 presidents, directing and endowing an international environmental science prize, assuring the reaccreditation of USC at a 3-year tenure at 3 10-year intervals, establishing the academic program review process. He's been retired as associate provost since 2008. He served as a part-time director of the USC Emeriti College for 7 years after he retired, and now he's president of the Retired Faculty Association. And so I'd like to introduce Jerry Walker to say a few words to you today.
Okay, am I unmuted? Okay, good. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to speak this morning on behalf of the Retired Faculty Association Board and to welcome our retired faculty colleagues to this delightful celebration of the holiday season. We are committed to keeping our colleagues connected to the university to which they devoted their careers and in which we all take great pride. As colleagues for life, we have shared a vision for decades on what USC could become, and we have taken pleasure in contributing to the fulfillment of that dream. The RFA board meets monthly and invites university leaders to speak and to learn about the concerns of retired faculty and staff. In November, we welcomed Dr. Laura Hilton, the new executive director of the Center for Work and Family Life, to discuss connecting for the holidays. She spoke about ways to care for our loved ones and ourselves safely while celebrating the holidays during these months of limited mobility and restricted social engagement. The RFA board is proud to continue to support the Russell Caldwell Scholarship Program, which offers partial support to 8 inner-city USC minority students who have grown up near USC's campuses. We have mentored these wonderful young people and connected them to the rich resources for first-generation Black and Latinx students at USC. We are very grateful indeed that a retired professor who knew Russell Caldwell personally has made 2 large anonymous gifts to help us create an endowment fund for the Caldwell scholarships. I also want to thank publicly our RFA members and retired faculty who contributed during the past 2 months to the Retired Faculty Association, the Caldwell Scholarship Fund, and the USC Emeriti Center. Your generosity has been exceptional. A dear friend, Gib Hinchke, Dean and Professor Emeritus from the USC Rasier School of Education, proposed earlier this year that we create a lifetime membership in the RFA, and he was the first of several faculty who became lifetime members this fall. We've enjoyed hearing the USC Chamber Singers this morning in a recording made way back in December of 2014. And I would like to thank Professor Joe Michael Scheibe, Chair of the Choral and Sacred Music Department in the Thornton School of Music, for sharing these wonderful recordings. Finally, the Retired Faculty Association has continued the Distinguished Lecture Series that was presented for several years on campus for the benefit of students, retirees, and active faculty and staff. We're very pleased that the Staff Retirement Association is co-sponsoring the lectures and helping us identify outstanding speakers. We will continue to announce these lectures to all USC retirees in the new year, and we hope you will participate with us. I have invited the co-directors of the USC Dornsife Center for the Political Future, Bob Shrum and Mike Murphy, to speak about the presidential transition on Friday, January 15. So watch your email during the next week or so for an announcement of the lecture, if they are indeed available. Let me wish you all a very, very happy holiday season. Do stay safe during this scary time. And now, please welcome one of my favorite people in the whole world, Dr. Jeanette Brown, Assistant Provost and Director of the USC Emeriti Center.
Thanks, Jerry. Tim, how are we doing with everything?
We are set. If you want to keep going with the original program, we're ready to go.
Okay, that's great. And is President Folt with us yet?
I believe so.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So we are so thrilled that you are all here with us today, and we recognize all the first responders and their families and extend our best wishes to all who have experienced hardships and loss over this past year. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to work with all of you. And today's celebration is a season and a way to honor all who have served USC for many years. And we especially honor our volunteers, our students, and our campus partners who have given us the time and expertise to provide connection and education to support so many of us. And this has been an interesting day. I see that a lot of the things have not turned out exactly as the way that we have wanted them to be. And we have our wonderful president with us today, President Folt. And President Folt, I can't find your introduction that I had. So many things have been going crazy today with all of our different things that have happened technologically. But one of the things that I did want to say is I cannot, and we cannot thank you enough for all that you've done for us so far in your tenure. And in particular, your warmth and caring, and how many times you have showed up, not only for us, but for all of the different folks that work for USC, the alums for USC, the diversity events, taking care and making us feel welcome, and our students who have been feeling so vulnerable. And you have come to the rescue and made us all feel that you care for us and that you're taking care of us. And we really appreciate that. And so without further ado, let me introduce our wonderful President Folt.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, if that was your without any preparation introduction, I'm going to say bravo. That was beautiful. And it really meant a lot to me. Thank you so much, Jeanette. You are fabulous. And you do so much for the just the whole community. And I just really, it's such a pleasure to see you. And, I just love your energy and the way you help keep our USC family close. And by the way, I'd say ditto that to so many of you who I've gotten to know in my very seemingly short time that lasted forever since I have been the president. That's what we sort of say, this is the endless year. It goes by too quickly and never ends. So here we are, getting close to an end or maybe a new beginning. And so it's great to be with you. So I say greetings to everybody. I'm laughing at my picture. It looks a little bit like that snow on the trees. So I can pretend like this is a holiday video and I'm up in the mountains, but I'm right here in Santa Monica, and that is just beautiful sun on the trees outside the window, but we can turn it into whatever we like. So it was really just about a year ago that we had a wonderful gathering in Town and Gown, in person. It was lovely. I got to meet a number of you, and I've met in many of my events. My first few months here, the first 5 months, I think I was face to face with almost 50,000 people in different venues. So I was having a great chance to really get out there and see people. And that morning was a terrific morning. I hold that one, and I know that we'll have another that probably next year will be in person, would be my call. If I were forced to make it today, that's what I'd be betting on. Maybe we'd act a little different at that moment, but that's where I think we'll be. But a lot's changed. And of course, we have had real challenges. And the overwhelming feeling I have, and I'm being completely honest, is gratitude. I wake up with it every day. I leave every meeting, every Zoom, every conversation feeling it. Because in spite of the difficulties and in spite of true pain, hardship, for some people, terrible loss, people keep showing up and showing up and showing up. And I don't know, that's something that you might have hoped would be true, but it's absolutely wonderful to see it be true. And I have certainly seen that from the Trojan family. And I certainly see it from all of you. You stayed involved. You're giving your time generously. You're sharing your experiences and wisdom with students and others. And I think, if anything, it's probably made all of us realize how important community and connection is. We know it, but it's being tested now, and we feel it even more strongly. And I think that's where I feel this gratitude for people who have done innovative, creative things to just really keep ourselves close, even while we're social distancing. And if I were to, I don't know how you'd ever quantify it, but in some ways, I think we've learned more about connecting in this time of disconnect. And one of my greatest hopes and aspirations is we'll take all those positive learnings about connection when it becomes face-to-face again, and not lose them, but intensify them and intensify that purpose. In a spirit of that gratitude, I want to acknowledge a few things that are the initiatives that have been coming out of your group. And one, of course, is Trojan Table. It's just a wonderful initiative. I've been really touched by that one and how it reaches out to students. I know that back in February, so long ago, more than 180 students came. There was undergraduates and graduates from 19 of our schools at USC. So already that's a really fabulous event. And I understand that many of the students didn't know each other before they showed up. So it was really an opportunity to bring those cultures together. And they also got to meet all of you. And I think that's really terrific. They get to connect with the retired faculty and staff, with the current students. that is easier in person, but keeping things going when we're not in person is also really important. I was told that some of the students that came to Trojan Table last year tried black bean soup and chili for the first time. So, you know, each one of these experiences that we've all had many of are often firsts for all the students that we meet. And I just think they love that. And one of the faculty members also brought fresh produce from his own backyard. And the comment centers, I was told, that came back to the Emeriti Center were just wonderful. One of the students wrote, "Thank you so much for caring." Another said, "This is the first meal I've had in a week that wasn't ramen noodles." So, you know, those are little things, but they mean a lot to our students, and especially in difficult times. Jeanette shared how grateful the students were, and she also told me something else, and this is what I think speaks truly to all of you, and that is that you felt that you have gotten more out of that experience than the students themselves. And so, of course, that is the spirit of generosity. It's the spirit of the holidays, that giving feels much better than receiving. And I share that with you and am grateful for all that you do give. It was really disappointing that the March and the April Trojan Table had to be canceled. But I understand you got very creative and you connected instead with the Trojan Food Pantry to support students facing food insecurity. And I cannot thank you enough for this. This is a serious problem for us. It needs support. We're doing things that we can. Many of you contributed to the pantry, and from there you went a step further and you helped to connect more students to find the pantry. Many of the students didn't even know it was there, and the need for some of them became much greater during this pandemic, and it's still important. This is still really, really critical for us. So that kind of initiative, to take an initiative, change an initiative, stretch and push the initiative that you've been doing is really fabulous. And I think it comes from that deep compassion, caring, and kindness that you share with the students and you share with your love of the university. And we all know that you can't go wrong if you're starting centered in those feelings of kindness and compassion. Another initiative that I also want to acknowledge is the Trojan Connections initiative. And this amazing program I began just right as lockdown started to go in effect, as I understand it. And at its core, again, it's Trojans looking after Trojans. It's checking in on people who feel especially lonely or isolated during the pandemic. And we all know that is a real problem for everybody, that isolation is there. And the results of this program have been incredible, especially for our international students. We're seeing them connect with retired faculty and staff, as well as with other USC students and alumni. And I know they're practicing their English and they're forming a family. And that's going to last a lifetime for them. So the pandemic and your creativity have brought back pen pals, and you've swapped stationery and stamps with Zoom meetings and phone calls. And that means a lot. The name you chose, Trojan Connections, you know, is something that it means something. It means exactly what it is, making those connections. And that is something we're so grateful for. These are just two wonderful programs that you began in the past year, and I know others are still thriving. The occupational therapy students are still giving workshops and individually consulting with a lot of our retired faculty and staff, learning healthy habits, selecting the right furniture and chairs to be ergonomically secure, which I have to admit I am not doing at this moment, as I'm sitting on two topping over pillows so that I can see into the screen. But these things are very important, and I think that practical experience is great for them. The Retired Faculty Association's Distinguished Lecture Series is humming along on Zoom, and the Staff Retirement Association is now a co-sponsor. Interestingly, when we thought we'd lose connection, Zoom and connection has actually been really strong. You know, I saw 50,000 people in person before March. Between March and November, we keep track of the number of people that come on. I've had face-to-face in person conversations with 140,000 people, and another 140,000 have downloaded those lectures or those other things just that I've been on in that same period of time. So we don't want to lose the connection we've established digitally. We just want to take advantage of it and expand it with those in-person things. So these distinguished lectures, they have a long life. They get viewed and then they get reviewed and reviewed. So it's wonderful. The Russell Caldwell Scholarship Program is another fabulous program that connects our students and is growing its endowment with the help of so many of our retired faculty and staff. These programs make a huge difference. And again, they are truly examples of Trojan connection, keeping our community maybe more joyful and having a little bit of lightness of spirit when things feel very heavy. I think that's really important. And so as we head into the holiday season in this most tumultuous of years, you just have my heartfelt gratitude, the gratitude of the entire community. And I'm so glad we're all part of a large Trojan family. So now I have the pleasure, the honor of presenting an award, and that's the Paul E. Hadley Faculty Award for Service. And it goes to Karen Koblitz, who was on the faculty of our Roski School of Art and Design from 1995 to 2017. So that is a wonderful selection. She is a remarkable artist. Her ceramics are just breathtaking. I was looking at a web page of them this morning. They're just exquisite. And she does more. She does, in addition, other things. She's just amazing. And there is love in each one of those pieces. You can see that same love that she does as part of the Retired Faculty Association. She manages, as you know, the Caldwell Scholarship Program and connects with the scholars to help make them feel so supported. She's also a part of Trojan Connections. And I understand she developed a new friendship with an economics master's student from China this year. And together they found that they both like to line dry their laundry in the sun. So that's pretty sweet and pretty special too. She's active with the program to help underserved high school students with their college essays, which are still very important. And when asked about her own contributions to the program, she instead focused on the students and what their experiences are like. She spoke about a recent advising session that involved 31 high school seniors and one student who joined the Zoom session but didn't have access to a laptop. The student joined by phone while traveling on a city bus. And again, that is not an easy thing to do. And Karen talked about how touching this student's determination was and how it reminded her of the importance, the deep importance of the mission of this program. So these are just a few reasons why Karen is so incredibly deserving of an award that recognizes contribution to community building at USC. So it is my pleasure and my privilege to present the Paul E. Hadley Faculty Award for Service to Karen Koblitz.
Thank you, President Folt. I'm actually tearing up. That was so sweet. It really touched me. It's a very great honor to receive this award, and I've been so passionate about and enjoy working as a member of the Retired Faculty Association Board. It's my pleasure to be active on the board, led by Jerry Walker, wonderful leader, previously Calvin Lau, with my esteemed colleagues who've left the teaching world, but continue to have tremendous ideas and energy in serving the USC community. And I'm proud to work among them. The RFA board has given me a platform to continue working with young people, which I enjoyed so much during my 30-year plus teaching career. It has been my passion to work with the USC Caldwell scholars, as well as local high school seniors. And I thank Jeanette Brown, who has been there to support all of my ideas, and she's never said no to me or any of my proposals. And she and her wonderful staff, made up of Emeriti work study students, have been there to take my ideas into the realm of reality. One of the things I have taken on as the member of the RFA board, as Dr. Folt said, is co-chairing the Caldwell Scholarship and working with these exemplary students, who many are the first in their families to attend college, coming from schools, high schools in the USC neighborhood. Despite many challenges they've faced, they have come to USC with many accomplishments, awards, and leadership experience in their high school and communities. At USC, they've continued to make a difference in the classroom, as well as their involvement in campus activities and community outreach. Right now, I'm trying to organize a little holiday get-together for all the Caldwell scholars, and have heard some stories from them as they really have faced a lot of challenges in this time of virtual education. But they are strong, and they're just continuing to plow through. One thing that the pandemic has really revealed is the inequities in our society, in areas such as access to good health care, affordable housing, healthy food source, and of course, a good education, which really establishes a future life. So my passion has been to create a resource for inner city high school students to have assistance in writing their college application essays. This is the third year I've been working with high school seniors on the essays for their college applications, and the second in which the Emeriti Center has collaborated with Volunteers of America Educational Talent Search. We have formed a very strong partnership and successful mentoring program. Thank you to the Director of Volunteers of America who joins us today, Ms. Joseph, and her wonderful counselors led by Ms. Smith Warrior, who's also here. And I also want to include the others that work at Volunteers of America, Ms. Bennett, Mr. Cardenas, and Mr. Tony, who work with students at Dorsey, Crenshaw, Locke, Gala, and Los Angeles high schools. In September 2020, we presented 2 virtual workshops, which was very challenging because I'm used to going into, in the past, I've gone into the schools themselves and met with the students. So this year, in our 2 virtual workshops, we had 50 high school seniors attend in learning how to organize, draft, and write an outstanding college essay or essays. Later in the fall, we organized 2 virtual college essay boot camps in which these students were paired with volunteer mentors who read their essays and gave feedback and helped them with context, grammar, and spelling. In the past 2 years, we've had over 100 volunteers and from the USC community, including retired faculty, current and retired staff, students, and alumni. And I'm sure in this Zoom meeting today, there are people in the audience that were part of our program, and I thank you all for volunteering your time to work with these high school seniors. I would like to end by telling you how rewarding it is to be a member of the RFA board and to work in programs supported by the Emeriti Center and to receive recognition from the university in this manner as the recipient of the Paul E. Hadley Faculty Award. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Karen. Karen is a wonderful person, and keep your eye on her. Those of you that would like to join her, she can definitely use some folks to help with not only the Caldwell Scholarship students, but also to work with Volunteers of America. And now we are so excited. President Folt is willing to do some Q&As with us today. And there's no way that we're going to be able to cover all of the questions that came through. I know, President Folt, you have a list of the questions, and I have a list of the questions, and you may want to choose some of your favorites. But if you would like me to start, I can certainly get started with some of those questions that came through.
I think you should just pick them. I'll go as quickly or as through as ones that we can.
I love it. I love it. I love your spontaneity. It's wonderful. Soon after your arrival, you've had to tackle many issues. At USC today, what do you see that brings you hope?
You know, I see, well, students bring me hope and joy, but I have to say, this event brings me hope. I feel hope and I feel determination. Those are very strongly linked. All the good things that we have aren't gone. If anything, I think we've revealed character that might not have been seen. And in some ways, I think even my own new emerging leadership team has had to get close faster. You know, we got a lot of things to solve very fast. People have done it. And so I've just seen this incredible grit that gives me hope. The ideas that people have aren't gone. They're not buried. They didn't change. If anything, people are filled with dreams for the future. So we have to continue to be open to that. But I think we're going to hold your hat. I think there's going to be a lot of exciting new things coming. And so if we can just keep people with us as we go through these next couple of months, I think, you know, this trite statement, the best is yet to come. I actually really see that on the horizon. And some of the best will be dealing with some of the difficult things that we now know have to be handled. So that's what it feels like.
Let's get into something a little bit more down to earth and practical. Does it now appear that fall semester 2021 will be back to a normal on-campus experience for students if the COVID vaccines have been distributed to all American citizens by July or August?
You know, I think we have a chance. Even, I mean, I don't know what back to normal will mean. I don't know what any of this is going to mean for how we socially distance and things like that. But I think it's possible even by the middle of spring term that we'll be bringing more students back in classes and living in dorms. I do. It really does depend. We're ready with respect to tests. It's a lot has to do with the county. And if the vaccine comes in and people, the faculty themselves feel safer to come in, they want to come in. It's not like they don't want to be there. So I think it will happen pretty fast as it starts to open those doors. And so, yes, I'm optimistic for the fall. I really am. And, you know, but a lot depends on what happens in the speed with which we get there.
Do you think that there will be a continued need for testing?
Yes, I do. I think testing, I mean, I think COVID is here for a while. And even if we get a very high vaccine, I mean, the truth is they don't know yet whether the vaccine protects you from, it might protect your own symptoms. We don't even know if it stops transmission to other people. This is a lot faster than you would normally go. So we'll probably all be erring on the side of testing, contact tracing for quite a while. And like flu shots, probably different levels of vaccines and for people depending on their exposure and the seriousness of their risks. So I think all that's still to be determined. But I will tell you, people here are ahead of the game. They are really working on that. We're getting distribution plans. We're thinking about everything 2 or 3 months ahead of where we see it will actually come to us. That wasn't true in March because the day it happened, 3 days later, we had to be 100% online. So I would say we're getting further and further ahead of things than we were. And that gives us a chance to be pretty thoughtful about how we put it in place.
Yeah, I live very close to campus and I am so impressed with all the preparation that has gone on. And you can see that they're just ready, we're ready for now, but we're ready for the future. And it's really magnificent how everyone.
I'm going to tell a funny story. I walked around yesterday and I was going into all these classrooms and they're all ready, they're outfitted. And we were laughing and saying someone could have made a movie 2 years ago showing these classrooms with X's on the seats. And everyone said, oh, that's the most ridiculous fiction in the world. And here it is, so it's something. But the campus is beautiful. It looks really good. We just got to get more people on it again.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. There's 2 of these questions that sort of resonate together about how the USC retiree community can engage with the USC community, current students, faculty, and staff. But also, how can the USC retired faculty and staff assist you in helping to rebrand the university's image, going back to some of the controversies that happened before you even got here?
Well, I mean, I'd start off by saying the different initiatives that I focused on were exactly how you can help. I think those are important. And in person is great, but we don't have that right now. So being able to get these individual connections with people and getting mentoring programs, and that's the way to do it. And really, at this moment, financial support for things like the food pantry and the scholarships, that need is greater than ever before. So I really appreciate that. We're trying hard to get students to sign up for all of those things. They don't always sign up. So I think it's persisting. And the same for faculty to sign up to even be mentored, because people are kind of pressed. Sometimes they don't want to get back on for another Zoom. So I think we just keep doing it, keep offering, keep being there. I think our reputation, I think we've actually made a pretty big jump away from what it was even a year and a half ago. Now, that doesn't mean we've got more. Tyndall is not out of the news. We haven't even begun to settle it. The legal case hasn't happened. These things will come back. The LA Times just wrote another story about the dean, about things that happened to the ex-dean a year after he even left the university, yet it always carries USC's name. So that's going to continue. And I think we have to just accept it with humility and purpose, but say that those things they can't shame us. They have to ignite us and make us keep working towards that. What I think people can do, though, is speak up when they see things that are going well. I don't think people do that as much as they might feel that they can. When you do it, you do it. You are voting with your feet when you support the emergency programs, when you do those mentor programs. And I think that's the best way. We just have to be relentless in our reminding people that we're not pretending those didn't happen, but we're trying to do everything we can to make sure similar things never happen again. And in fact, we're investing in great things about the future. And have patience. Scandals have a long tail, and you just can't let it demoralize you, because you remember that 99.9% of the people and the things that are going on here are not defined by that. And none of you are defined by that. And you made USC. So we just have to keep reminding people of that. Karen is not defined by that. She was at US, you all were. So I think that's just reminding all of us that you're not defined by it is really important.
So we're mindful of your time. Do you have time for a few more questions?
Couple more. Let's do a couple more, and then I'll see you later.
Looking back on the last 10 months of the pandemic, is there anything that you think you might, or the university might have done a little bit differently?
I'm actually pretty prideful about this one, actually. I think we've done an amazing job. Part of our job was made easier by the difficulty of the county, is the truth. I didn't have that terrible decision to bring people back when they couldn't be brought back. That I have to admit, that helped me compared to presidents and chancellors around the country. And yet we had to do it fast. The only place where I wish we had more, could have maybe been a little bit earlier, was understanding that we weren't going to be able to bring people back. But that's all happening very fast. And we made those decisions as quickly as possible. And we were probably one of the very first to say we were going to go all online, because we started in early August, the first that needed to put in these testing programs. I mean, we did a lot of things before everybody else. And then they just kept crashing and burning and crashing and burning, and we weren't. So I think that's good, but that doesn't help the people who felt, that they lost their leases and things like that. So you always wish you could have done more. Next thing, though, I think I was really maybe the first that came out and said we weren't going to force faculty to come back and teach. And I think that was really important. That was going to be a choice. I'm also mindful, though, that my public peers don't necessarily have the latitude that I do as a president of a private. So some things were advantaged by who we are and what we could decide. And I believe with no doubt that our faculty want to be back. It's not like pushing and screaming, but you have to be mindful of people's health and our staff too. So that's all really good. And financially, I just saw some things that puts us in the top 10 for how we've actually been able to weather this. That is huge, but we're still 300 million in the hole. So it's not as though these are easy things. But so far, I'd say people have done a fabulous job, and we're always looking to do it better. I mean, that's kind of where you go. Is you might think you did well, but the next good idea, we'll try to do it.
So lastly, the educational piece, the learning remotely and how that might change when students can come back to campus, and how's this affected the research?
Well, it really depends. I think a lot of it has had a psychological impact on people. So even if you could do your work in a library, I mean, you might still have access to most of your materials. Take out the lab scientists and the studio artists and things like that. But a lot of people still have access to most of what they need. And yet they too probably feel that they've been restricted by not having the one-on-one interactions, all that kind of stuff. But people have sort of started to recover from that. Some people, I was talking to the head of our stem cell center, one of the best in the nation. He said that it forced them to do a whole new line of stem cell research that really built out and accelerated their analytic work, that they are now 2 years ahead of where they thought they'd be. So I think for every single project, how they've adapted has maybe led to great things, but the loss of the in-person and the and just the burden of this, plus the election, plus the entire roiling of our social fabric. I mean, those aren't small things for people to deal with. And so probably our faculty put their students first. Probably if they prioritize, where does your energy go? Of course, they have to take care of their families and everything, but then they're going to take care of their students. And it probably was much harder to teach, have to redo, teach. So huge energy, harder, more interaction, not less. So you start putting that in, and even though research, we all desperately love it, it may have been one of the ones that got pushed, but I'm still seeing a lot of productivity and a lot of people working, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been a burden. I think it's the worst burden actually on the graduate students, however. They're on 3 and 4 year timeframes, and that's totally disrupted. So it's affecting everybody differently. Postdocs, or someone just about to come up for tenure. This is all much worse for all of them, because of the time, the importance of the time frame. So trying to figure out ways to relax that fear for them and stuff is really important. And I don't know that we've got that all right.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can all appreciate that. You could guess what all those issues might be.
Well, we're so happy to have you with us today, and I think that you and the administration have done a fabulous job bringing us all together, and I am also very, very proud of what you've accomplished during these very trying times, and we do wish you the very best and health and happiness for you and your family and your loved ones, and we're very grateful that you could join us today.
Thank you, Jeanette. I don't know if you could hear a little loud crying, laughing person in the background, but I do have my granddaughter and family here. They're staying for 5 weeks, which is totally wonderful because I've been almost 10 months without seeing them. So I'm feeling that extra joy right now. So thank you for asking. And thank you, everybody. Thinking of you all. Stay healthy, stay safe. Stay optimistic as you are, and fight on. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. It's wonderful to have President Folt with us today, and we're running a few minutes late, but it's just fine because we are going to now spotlight two of our 5 wonderful students that we have working for the Emeriti Center. And these are the students that have been with the Emeriti Center the longest. But I do want to say, you saw Courtney in the beginning. Now you're seeing Leanne and Yvonne. We have Helen, who's going to be helping us at the end of our event, and Hannah. These students are amazing. And when you heard President Folt talk about Trojan Connections, Trojan Table, it was our students who run a retiree center who came up with these initiatives. It was the creativity, the intelligence, the caring of these students, even during the pandemic, where they had undue stress, at home and at school, and harder coursework, and the professors were working them like crazy, and yet they still stepped up to the plate to help us all and to make these programs work. So we can't thank them enough. Congratulations to you. And so Leanne and Yvonne, please tell us a little bit about your experiences, what you've been going through. This population loves to hear from students.
Hello, everyone. Good morning to everyone on the West Coast. My name is Leanne. I am currently a junior studying business administration. And Yvonne, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Yvonne Ramos. I am actually a recent grad. I just graduated this semester. So this is going to be my last semester here at the USC Emeriti Center. I actually started working with Jeanette for since my first semester at USC. So I'll talk a little bit about my 4 years at the Emeriti Center and at USC. Thank you.
Yeah, so I can, start off by, I guess my experience so far as a student in this unique period of time. So similar to Yvonne, I started working here my first semester. Started working at the Emeriti Center for my first semester at USC, and I definitely think it's one of the highlights of my 3 years so far at the university. They're just, I know a lot of the retirees I meet say, you guys have done so much for the Emeriti Center. You guys have taught me so much regarding technology and everything, but I definitely think that it's a reciprocating relationship. Every retiree I meet has such a unique story. You guys have taught me so much as well. So I've definitely learned a lot during my 3 years so far at the Emeriti Center. Especially now during COVID where everything's online, we definitely had to be a lot more versatile, try to be more, think about new, fresh ways to incorporate in an online setting, especially with a lot of people who are not as familiar with technology. But I think, I believe Dr. Brown has mentioned before that we definitely took a lot of initiatives this past semester. We've done bi-weekly Zoom learning sessions that I've seen some familiar faces today as well. And I think these have definitely formed a great connection with a small group of retirees and us as well. And it's just definitely a highlight of my week every Friday to be able to see all the retirees. I mean, I've been on Zoom every single day from morning to dark, but just sitting in front of the camera, listening to a professor, but every other Friday to be able to interact with everyone has definitely been a great experience for me. Yvonne, do you want to elaborate more?
And Yvonne, remember, I don't think everybody knows that you are broadcasting live from the Bronx in New York.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, putting me on mute for some reason. But no, yeah, can say the one thing about my time at the Emeriti Center was that it was definitely a place that I really enjoyed being and really enjoyed experiencing and interacting with a lot of retired faculty and staff members. I actually didn't grow up with any grandparents, so to have elders and to have older people to interact with was definitely eye-opening, and it really just taught me a lot. There's so many different experiences that I learned from a lot of the retirees that I take into account within my own life. There's definitely so many things to learn. In addition to that, I would say my 4 years at USC was definitely a roller coaster, and being part of the Emeriti Center, it was a home away from home. It was a place where I can definitely go if I was stressed out at school or if I felt like overwhelmed. I can go to Emeriti Center and forget about a lot of the things that was going on at USC. And I really enjoyed just having that backbone, because it was one of those communities that is really important to students. And so oftentimes some students don't realize that, but yeah, it was definitely a huge important piece in my USC career. And I will say that one of the things I can always remember is just Jeanette allowing me to be part of the Emeriti Center. I remember interviewing there and being so nervous because I didn't know what to say and I didn't really know how to pronounce the Emeriti Center. I tried to pronounce it and it was Emirati, which often people go for it. And so just learning about how it functions and what it does really taught me a lot, not only within just USC, but also it's applicable to a lot of my interviews within jobs. And it really taught me a lot of how to become a professional, and really is taking me into the next steps in my professional career. Now I can say that.
Yeah, I guess to add on one last thing, usually we have this event in person at Town and Gown. I remember attending it last year. Yvonne was there 2 years ago too. And I'm sure a lot of you guys were there as well, but it's actually a really great event with good food, good people, really spectacular event. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it this year, but I'm still really proud of how it turned out. We have a pretty good turnout, 102, and hopefully everyone enjoyed it as well. Yeah, so thank you guys. We worked really hard in planning this. Also, thank you for Dr. Brown for being so thorough in planning this as well. And yep, hopefully everyone will continue to enjoy it today.
Well, thank you. Thank you both. I would love to have you talk more and more. And I think what we may do as we move forward, one of the things that has been very amazing to me is when we have polled the people who have come to our Zoom events, the number one thing that they want to do or hear is they want to hear from our students, our intergenerational conversations, and those kinds of things that we've put together. It's the students. And you'll notice that we're not always professional. Who cares? We really, we are a living laboratory of experiential learning, and you're helping the students to learn, and the students are helping us to learn. So we thank our wonderful students. They've done a fabulous job. We also thank the campus partners that have helped us out. In particular, we had Kimi Yamada, our physical therapy professor, amazing. For the last 5 years, she has helped us with these physical therapy concurrent workshops for 5 years. That's 10 sessions. And she went online with us. We have had Brad Williams helped us with our pharmacy students years ago and started these individual consultations. And now Patrick Tabon, professor, and his students, not only did they do individual consultations, created a workshop, created online resources for all of you for our website, but his students wanted to do more this summer. So what did these graduate pharmacy students do along with Patrick? They sent over 100 handwritten notes to our widows and widowers from the Emeriti Center. So there's just, I can go on and on about our campus partners, Debbie Jones and Patricia Gonzalez, who've been helping us behind the scenes, Carrie Marking, doing all these wonderful things to support you. So again, thanks to everyone. We really, really appreciate our students. We appreciate all of you who've been contributing. And now what we would like to do is give you a little bit of entertainment. We've got 2 more wonderful musical programs for you to hear. And then after that, you will be automatically be able to either, you can leave, or you can go back into the individual groups that you were assigned, and some of them have been rearranged for you by Helen. It will give you a chance to have discussions just like you did around those big tables in Town and Gown. We're going to break you up into groups again. This time it'll work, I promise. But again, thank you so much for joining us. And now, Tim from Crew, if you wouldn't mind taking it away. Tim, we can't hear.
And that's our final selection.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you, Tim, for helping us pull all of this together. And our students now, Helen, thank you very much. Helen is going to break everyone up into your different groups and use the chat if you would like to let us know that you want to be rearranged. I will do the best that I can to hop along and maybe visit some of the different groups so that I can get a chance to say hello to all of you. Make sure you press that little blue button, okay? So Helen, take it away and let's see how this works this time.
So I will be moving everyone into their rooms, and then I'll be moving some people around just to match everyone up with their preferences. But if you have any other requests, just send them in the chat and I will be sure to put you in the correct room.
Thanks,
All right,
Helen.
here we go.
thanks again so much for all your help. Especially our students have been wonderful. When we started off in the beginning, it was not so good. We were all over the map, but that's good. So in our little mini breakout session, we ended up with 2 recommendations for the Emeriti Center to do, let's see here, to do one presentation on hearing and hearing aids, audiology, what are the latest technologies and all of that. And then vision changes. What happens to your vision, how to take care of your vision. What do you do after you've had cataract surgery if it doesn't work out as well as you think? What are some of the things that we can do to keep on keeping on when some of our senses, our hearing or our sight is not as good as it used to be? I see that we've got a chat session going. Happy holidays. Great to see you all. Oh, yeah. So Bill met Jean. That's great. So if any of you have any other recommendations. Oh, Elaine. Hi, Elaine. Elaine is, it's great to see you, Elaine. I hope to meet you in Hollenbeck Palms sometime when we're able to go in person. It's really been tough not being able to see you guys and give you big hug, and all that kind of stuff. And I see Anne is here and Rita, a lot of folks that I haven't seen for a long, long time. And Bill moved away, and Bill is now in the desert. And you're loving it, right? We can't hear you. You got to unmute yourself, Bill. You're going to have to push the unmute button.
There we go.
There you go.
Bill made a big change, but I'm liking it. I'm very happy. My feeling is that every so many years you have to reinvent yourself. And I've done it twice so far, where I moved from Tennessee to California. Now it's time to move to Palm Springs and reinvent again. But by the way, this was a wonderful session. I love meeting my breakout friends. That was really, we had a nice discussion about travel and how much we miss it. So one thing, by the way, you mentioned the hearing thing. That's very good, because the current Medicare plan now includes hearing aids. It'd be interesting to see how that works, because I need to add one myself. But so it'd be interesting. That's a very good idea for a seminar or meeting or whatever it is. Yeah.
And we can do fun stuff too. We could do something on travel.
Yeah.
Armchair traveling folks. Anybody to do that? That would be good. And Bill, I want to publicly thank you. Many of our distinguished lectures and all the wonderful programming that's come out through SRA, RFA, and Emeriti Center, those famous speakers are mostly the result of Bill Gibbons' work.
Well, thank you. I enjoy it. It's kind of fun. I've already given a couple of names for next year. I think we've gotten several, and also Jerry has come up with some good names. So lectures, I think they're fascinating. And
Jerry's done a great job too. And any of you, if you know someone that would be really great and an interesting speaker, let us know, because our students are running these Zoom sessions, and they've been doing it since March, and they've been doing a fabulous job. But we really would like to highlight folks that are don't have to be faculty either. They could be anybody. So
been very good attendance too. Most of these, I think the one with Jody Armour was set a record for attendance. Mm-hmm. So several of them. The one we had with Lord Eatwell was a sellout too.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
Hopefully we can do. They're much better in person, I'll have to say, but we deal with. But they work okay on Zoom. The ones we've had on Zoom have been just fine. But I wish we could do them in person again.
Hey, Elaine, hi.
I think there's a fairly strong desire for Zoom to be continued on some level,
Oh,
even after we don't have to do Zoom. Because this is so much easier than parking at USC.
Yeah.
But I mean, and there are so many things. Somebody suggested that when the students do their plays or something, maybe we could see a show, their dress rehearsal or something.
Cool.
So I don't know. I'm already mourning for Zoom, and it took me a hell of a time to get so I could actually use it.
So that's what I need to hear. If any of you, and I'm begging you, if you have any ideas of how we can help our retirees and anyone really, how do we help them learn how to do Zoom so that they can do it with their family and friends so that they can stay connected? We had a few people that called in on the phone. They don't have computers, or they have computers and they don't know how to use them. During the time of COVID now, our students will call people on the phone and try to talk them through it. But, you got to be there and show people how to do it. So how do we reach out to those folks that don't have a computer? How do we reach out to those folks that have one but don't know how to use it? How do we reach out to folks who know how to use it, but they are afraid of Zoom?
I think you could do a video. I think the students could do a video.
There's
showing,
tutorials on them on
here's
Zoom.
what you're,
Zoom has tutorials.
well, see, I'm too vain to
I see that Anna is talking, but she didn't unmute herself.
You know, the way it is set up, it goes to mute automatically. And that's one of the suggestions I wanted to say is that Zoom has a feature where whoever is speaking automatically gets on the limelight. So that feature needs to be turned on. Otherwise, you have to wait for the host or the helper to switch on the speaker. That feature can be made automatic. So Zoom, the new version, if you update, it will go automatically to that, because I'm doing a class and we initiated that feature. So the person who's coordinating doesn't have to worry about who's speaking. Automatically, the person speaking comes on the screen. So it takes away one more thing to look out for while the session is going on. And then most senior people, they forget sometimes to click on the unmute. So that was a very good feature that Zoom has added. And definitely the students will be able to help and move your Zoom meeting to that new version. And another thing I wanted to say is that even when I was trying to log in, I had some problems. And you may want to work with Central IT and define the thread of your website there, because it shows the Emeriti Center as unauthenticated, and it's not safe to use because my Not in 360 is telling me it's not safe. So your certificate needs to be added into the Zoom call meeting as a safe site. That's another suggestion. And another thing I heard in our breakout room is that people didn't get invites, the physical invite. Even I got it yesterday evening late, and I opened it right away because I was expecting a holiday card, but then I saw the invite, and so I was happy to join in. But I didn't get the email. Normally I get email for events from the Emeriti Center, and this time I didn't. For a couple of months I've not got it, and I would just go on the website and look up what's going on. So
Anna,
maybe the list needs to be reviewed again.
Anna, would you please send an email to emeriti@usc.edu with that issue? Because and somebody else had their hand raised.
Sure.
There we go. It's Susan.
Susan.
I was just going to say that zoom.com has weekly sessions that are broken down very easily understandable for those who are technology challenged, and they're free, they're short, and I'm like, I take 2 a week so that I can learn Zoom and all the behind stuff, like everyone was talking about. So that's somehow to put together a list of resources that are available on the Emeriti website that retirees, seniors, whatever can go to, that can also help. But I think an online training would be great.
Yeah, and we did this early on. In fact, if you see Leanne is with us right now, she created a whole website with mini Zoom information and all of that for us on the Emeriti Center when we first started doing this, but we just didn't get it out. And I'm really worried about the what happened. I'm thinking maybe our listserv is not working, because I sent out an invitation for this event at least 3 times. And the actual mail, I'm very disappointed that the post office didn't deliver those in time. So I guess we should have sent that out in November, way earlier in November, for the cards, because it was very pricey to send out 3,700 holiday cards with invitations.
I have a suggestion, Jeanette, for that, is that we can run an email when you up and running with the listserv. You could have a survey asking people if they want to opt out. Like I'm okay with just receiving an email. And even if I don't, I sometimes just go in and see on the Emeriti website. So if you provide the link in the email, a lot of people would opt out. I would like to save 50 cents for Emeriti Center. I don't need a hard copy. So there will be a lot of people who will opt out, and the people who need it, they can stay. It's okay to run dual and have
Good point.
electronic invite. I would say a survey would be good to find out if we can save some money.
I agree.
Have a list of those who said they're willing to not get hard copy.
Right.
Because of Zoom and because we haven't had big events, it was unfortunately my decision to send everybody a card in the mail, because I just felt like we didn't get to touch you at all. So once a year, we would just spend the money and send you something through the mail. But we don't send out newsletters anymore.
Yeah.
We haven't been sending out postcards so much anymore, any of that. So.
Ned, I'm a girl. This is Rhonda. And I thank you for the hard copies. I know that money is a savings, but there's just nothing like the real thing, baby. So I thank you. That card.
Hi, Rhonda.
Okay.
And I had a thought too, by the way. I'll have to look it up. But, they're on the website for the school. We have access to that tutorial thing that teaches you how to use different kinds of software. I forgot what it's called now, but it teaches you all the different, you can. And I just wonder if they have one on Zoom. I haven't looked yet, but it's.
Yes, there are tons of them on YouTube. If you look up YouTube, and then Zoom itself has.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, that's true. What I'm talking about is one that's, that's limited to USC access, and it's.
Is that Trojan Learn? Is that Trojan Learn?
Could be that, yeah. But anyway, it's.
So the email often goes to junk. I forgot about that. But I'm not sure if that's what, and I'm going to need to have either Provost IT or ITS help me take a look at our listserv to see what's happened to it, because I think that's probably what happened, because for us to only have 100 people, you know, we have a 2 p.m. Zoom session today that is about sleep. You're all invited. It's on our website. You can click on it. But we have over 330 people signed up for that one little workshop. And that's because the Alumni Association publicized it, and it went to some of our other folks that are part of our AROHI, which is the Association of Retirement Organizations in Higher Education. So we're just going to have to do a better job of marketing and figuring all this stuff out. If you have any students or any folks that you know that would like to volunteer to help us be the communications coordinator, we definitely need a communications coordinator to help get all of our, to market and send out our broadcasting and all that, because it's just me and students, and it's really difficult for me to manage the, behind the scenes, the one-on-ones with retirees when they call in, when they email, when human resources or ITS doesn't know how to help somebody, then they call me on my cell phone. So a lot of these back end budgeting and HR stuff and business services and all of these things, we don't have the staff to do that anymore. So it's difficult because I'm not an expert in all those different areas where we had staff members, and our students are learning and they're doing, really good, but they don't have access to a lot of the things that a full-time employee does. So they can't do a lot of the things that we need them to do. So if you know of anyone that's really good at writing and marketing and communication and would like to recommend them for volunteering, we'd love to have somebody. So I think it's 11:24. We've gone way over our time, and I wanted to thank you all for joining us and sticking around. And it's wonderful to see your faces. Michelle, it's just great. I haven't seen Anna for a long time. It's great to see Elaine. I mean, all these folks that I haven't seen, Mari and Joel's still hanging out with us, and Rita.
I'm here in Palm Springs, so Bill, look me up.
I think we'll have to start a Palm Springs chapter.
You should. There's a lot of us out here.
Yeah, you could have your own bubble.
And we still have some VOAs still here with us. Hey, no, it's just great. It's great that you could all join us, and I really appreciate it. And I haven't seen a lot of you folks for a long time, and it's wonderful to see you. So thank you so much for joining us.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I don't know how I got the name owner, but I'm Mamie Chenoweth. And I want to thank you for putting this together. And one thing about the hearing thing, we had one several years ago before I retired, which meant it was before 97. That was wonderful. And if they can redo that, or one similar, bring it up to date. I mean, they had oncologists, otolaryngologists, hearing aid people, people from the music industry on sound.
That's right, we did.
It was really good.
It was.
In the archives.
That was a hearing health symposium that we did over in the school.
And it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, thank you for putting this together, and happy holidays to everybody, and stay safe.
It's great to see you, Mamie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so
Thanks.
much. Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations, Karen.
Yeah, take care.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Holidays.
Congratulations, Karen. Good deal. Bye-bye.